everybody. Thank you, ladies, for coming back and joining me once again for part 2 of The Art of Mothering. And I believe, Katie, you were talking about maybe some advice that you might have for empty nest moms.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, I think when it first happens and it's very new to you, it's going to be a shock. I think I definitely will be shocked. But I also, I have a lot of friends who are older and who are in the empty nest and who have now are grandparents. And what I've seen from them is that it's a season. It's not like necessarily a permanent thing. And most of the time, unless you have a really bad relationship with your kids, it's usually they end up coming home, especially when they start having the grandbabies and they need some free babysitting. So,
Yeah.
So I know, like you said, you're struggling like to get everybody together. I think you just need to keep on trying. And then, eventually, like people right now, they just are now getting out into the world. They're just starting to spread their wings, and they're free and they want to start their lives with their friends and do all their stuff. But it's going to get old, and it's going to, they're eventually going to come home. So I think if we can remember that and try to keep our boundaries, I think that's going to be my hardest thing is remembering, okay, I am mom, but you're not an adult. And so I need to let you make decisions and let you fall. If you're going to fall, let you fall, but be here to help you get back up if you need me to. And I think, that eventually if you respect them, that, it'll all work out. And you just keep on saying, hey, this is the night once a month that I'm planning dinner. Whoever can show up. I'm happy to have you home. And then eventually the others are going to get jealous and they're going to start wanting mom's home cooking too. And they'll come back too. I just think it's a season that everybody goes through.
That's good advice. And wholeheartedly hope you're right.
Me too.
And I'm looking forward
right too.
I'm looking forward to when the grandbaby gets older to where she knows Mamie and Poppy more, and she'll start asking, can I go to Mamie's house? Can we go to so maybe that'll help when she gets older. And because I'd already told my oldest daughter, I believe it was yesterday. I was like, because I managed to scrape up enough pennies to take both of my kids to Disney World. And I told my oldest daughter, I was like, when she gets older, I said, because we were driving down the road and she was talking about the plane. She's like, I see a plane. That looks fun. I'm like, when you get older, maybe Mamie and Poppy can take you on a plane to Disney World. And she's like, Disney World. And I got all excited. And my oldest daughter, she was like, yeah, that'd be fun, but I want to go too. So maybe I just need to plan a trip to Disney World to get them all back together. Okay. Any other thoughts on empty nest syndrome of tips or maybe fears that you're going to have when you have to face it? It's not easy, guys. Let me tell you.
It isn't. I will say something that I've seen that I love that my mother-in-law does. She has 6 kids. So my significant other is one of the 6. And what'll happen is she'll call us. And it's usually the wives that she calls because the men don't plan anything. But she'll say, hey, I want to have a soul food Sunday. Can we do it at your house? And then we just bounce around to everyone's house because we do live virtually all around in the same area. And so it'll be the whole family. Their family's huge. Just to put it in perspective, my son was born in 2015 and he was grandchild number 18. There's been a slew of other ones. Like my daughter's 21, I think. So, and then she has probably like 12 great grandkids. My significant other started over. So he has grown kids and then he has baby kids. And so there's just people everywhere. And so that's how we do ours, so that everybody gets a chance to see each other. And we used to do it like once a week, but then of course COVID happened. So
Yeah.
I do agree with Katie that I think once people get a little bit older and your kids have houses of their own, then maybe you can try the bouncing around and it can be their turn to cook and you come to their house, you know. And I also see with her being, and you may get here at some point, with her being the matriarch of the family, she's starting to get older and she's starting to get tired. So she's like, why don't you guys help with it? Why don't you do something with it to help? And then it's now falling on the new generation because she's asking us to do that. So I have a regret in the background. I'm sorry. She's blurred, but she's like jumping on the bed. And then just personally speaking, I think what I'm going to try to do when I get there is know that my kids, I want them to know the things I didn't know. So I want them to know how to do their taxes. I want them to know how to have a bank account and be able to balance that checkbook and equip them with those skills. And so, like, for instance, my kids are very athletic. I expect my kids to stay here. So let's say if my son actually does go D1, I expect him to stay here until he's done with college and then move on. And then he will have that feel, I think, of all those things, and he'll know how to do all that stuff. He'll have his feel of mom. He'll be able to move on and be successful without me. So I won't have that fear. But I can't imagine my kids gone. Like, everybody that I've talked to, all the older moms that I know that their kids are grown, that's what they say to me. Well, you need to enjoy the fact that the house is loud and messy and crazy right now, because there's going to come a time when it's not like that. And so that's probably the best advice I have for that right now.
Yes. Well, I appreciate it. And those are good ideas. Very good ideas. And your little one's adorable. She popped in on your shoulder and we could actually see her.
Yeah, my 20 twin. We are identical.
Adorable. Yes, thank you guys for the advice. And yeah, I'm gonna keep at it. I'm gonna keep letting them know that I'm here and I still want them. I always want them. And I guess that's about all I can do. What was or is your quick and easy go-to meal for late busy evenings? What is your go-to recipe? And it's got to be quick and easy, but something that you can actually share with us, so you can tell moms how to make it right now. So it's got to be that quick and easy.
So for us, it is taco salad. Just brown up some beef, put some taco seasoning in it, and you're done. Some tortilla chips or tortillas, and you're done. That's typically our go-to quick, simple meal, or the kids will just have a sandwich or pop in some chicken nuggets and we're done.
Cool. And that's amazing that your kids are the age that they are and they'll eat taco salads. My kids wouldn't touch tacos when they were that age.
So typically, like with us, so my son, he just does it with the Doritos on the plate with some meat on it, and that's how he eats his. But my daughter, she would do the tortilla, the sour cream, the meat, and some cheese on it. And that's pretty much how they do theirs. So yeah.
So know your kid and have whatever toppings that they're going to want. Just have it in stock, because it's not like you can't use sour cream or cheese and stuff on other recipes. So
But we have kind of like whatever nights. It's kind of fend for yourselves tonight.
yes, we've had those before.
Like, you want cereal? We'll get a bowl of cereal, 'cause, actually, my son's in band. But typically, they have their stuff. We have a concert coming up soon, so we will probably get out probably like around 9. And that'll be a really fend for yourself night.
Right.
And then my daughter does cheerleading, and that will start up in July, end of July. So we'll be doing at least 2 days a week with practices, and then those typically it's like, she and I will pick up Sonic or something, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of days, and now people are trying to stay away from fast food, but you almost have to. I mean, you almost have to once in a while, especially if your kids are going different directions and they're both in sports, and you've got to be here at this time and you've got to be there at the exact same time, and then how you're going to feed them at the somewhere in between. Yeah, sometimes you have to resort to fast food, and unfortunately, we still resort to fast food a little too often because my husband works nights now. I mean, he goes in at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and doesn't get home till like 2 o'clock in the morning. My youngest daughter's the only one that's home. She has school through the day. She comes home. She's home for maybe 45 minutes or so and before she's off to work. So really don't even have time to feed her while she's here. So a lot of times it's just me. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not going to cook a full-blown meal just for me. Oh, I'll have a McDonald's cheeseburger. Yeah, I know it's not good for you, but it is what it is.
I have the same problem because my husband also works like the exact same shift that your husband does. So he's not here for supper. My oldest works for Chick-fil-A. So she gets, as part of her employee benefits, she gets to have Chick-fil-A, and she's actually pretty healthy. She does a lot of kale salads and stuff like that. But she comes home and she's got her supper. So it's me and the other two. So I have found that you can get it at Costco. I've also found some at Aldi, but they have those meal kits that it's like this week I got from Aldi it's like a chicken cordon bleu, but it's stuffed with artichoke and cheese. It was really good. And so yesterday we had kind of a rough day, and I didn't get home in time. It was just when our timing was, and it just takes like, you just heat it. I actually heated it up in the air fryer because our microwave broke yesterday. So it wasn't a microwave meal, but it's not even, you can do it in the oven if you want to, but I did it in the air fryer for like 5 minutes because it's already cooked. You're just really heating it up. And then you just add, like I added a salad with it, and I made some rice, and it didn't take very long at all. So I love the meals at Costco because it'll come with like the complete set. So I'll get, like, the kids love the street tacos from Costco because it's only, I mean, it comes with everything you possibly need in one container, and all I got to do is heat up the meat. So I found, like, if I can get those for like 1 or 2 nights a week, the kids are happy. There's not much mess to clean up, and it's, it's done. We're done eating in 30 minutes.
Nice and great tips. Although we don't have a Costco.
Sam's Club or Aldi.
We do have an Aldi and we do have a Sam's.
Aldi was our choice this week. And tonight we actually had what I thought was a whole kit, but it actually ended up just being the meat. But it was still good. And we just had pork tacos tonight. So it was good.
Cool. Liv?
Well, you guys are speaking my language. I love to make a 4-course meal because I love to cook. However, I have multi-sport children, and 8.5 months. No. Is it 8.5? Is it 8.5? No. 10.5 months out of the year, we are in sports that intersect seasons. And I actually run the basketball league for Dunbar. So there's no time. There's no time anywhere, ever. What's the point? My kids are very picky is another thing. So it's very frustrating. But one of the things I found that they will eat hands down every single time is crock-pot chicken. It is so freaking easy. You take boneless, skinless chicken thighs and a block of cream cheese, a can of cream and mushroom soup, a ranch packet, and some chicken broth. Or I'll use bouillon powder or some chicken stock concentrate where you can just pour the water in. Crock pot, 6 to 8 hours, come home, minute rice, steam a bag of broccoli, and they're perfectly happy, and everybody eats. And my son will literally eat the whole thing because he's the pickiest. He even asked for it the next day after school. And so it's my go-to meal. We're actually going to have it on Thursday because they eat it so much. He would literally eat it every day if I let him. But it tastes really good, and it's relatively healthy. I mean, it's high sodium, but it's just a really easy meal for everybody, and everybody likes to eat it. And so if you're a busy mom, that is definitely my suggestion for you.
That is awesome. And, I've always been kind of scared or reluctant to do crock pots and leave it something on when I leave the house. I don't know. It just always made me nervous. So What do you put the setting on low or medium, or I mean, because even if when I cook in a crock pot, I'm finding I'm constantly in there still stirring it. Even if I'm home, I'm always sticking my nose in it.
This particular one I do put on low. If you need to cook faster in like 4 hours, you can put it on high. But the thing I like about it is the cream cheese will not like go into the actual meal until it has cooked all the way. So you don't have to stir it. You don't have to touch it. I'm kind of scared about leaving stuff on too, but I just leave it on low.
Okay. Well, it sounds wonderful. I love cream cheese. You got me with
tasty.
the cream cheese. Okay, well, I have two that were used to be our go-tos, and one I'm actually fixing Wednesday night for my youngest daughter and for my parents. They both had surgery, and we've been kind of taking turns cooking for them while they've been healing. But one is what I just simply call as our steak sliders, and I just get the really thin steak or stir fry steak. However, you can even get it pre-cooked if you want to make it even quicker. But the thin steak, and slice it up, thin strips or squares, however you want to cut it. Cook it up. Get you a package of sweet Hawaiian rolls. Slice the tops off of them. Flip the top off. Put your steak on and smother it in mozzarella cheese. Now, you can add, if the adult version, you can add peppers, bell peppers, banana peppers, onions, whatever you want to add into it. However, to keep it kid friendly so that everybody will eat it, it's just steak and mozzarella. And then pop it in the oven, let the cheese melt, put the top back on it, the top side of the buns or rolls back on it, just long enough to heat toast. If you're feeling fancy, you can melt you some butter and add a little garlic to it and smear over top of it so you get a good little pretty glaze. But yeah, really, really simple, really, really easy. And it's really, really easy to eat because they can grab one or two and take off with them in their hands. So it's a good meal to go on the go, or go to when you come home and you need something quick and late. And my other one was actually one that my brother taught me or came up with when we were kids. We were raised by a single mom, and he was 6 years older than I am. So he was often cooking for me while mom was working her second job. And he came up with, I don't know where he came up with it from, but he came up with pizza biscuits. And I started making them for my kids, and they were a huge hit. And especially for slumber parties, or if you have a house full of kids, you just get a can of biscuits. You flatten your biscuits out as thin as you can. Put your pizza sauce, put your mozzarella cheese, your pepperoni. But why this was always a big hit was because once I flattened out the biscuit dough and put them on the pans, added this pizza sauce, then I'd let the kids make their own, however they wanted to build it. So number one, it was really quick and easy for me because I just had to smash the biscuits, prepare the biscuits with the sauce, and then let them put what they wanted on it, which is why it was a big hit for slumber parties, because little kids are in there making their own pizza biscuits. We're making pizza biscuits. We're making pizza biscuits. Yeah. That one's not extra pepperoni on mine. No, it's fun. It gets them included in the actual baking in a safe way. Even the little ones can put their own pepperoni on, so they're all feeling included in it. It goes really quick, really easy, and it's a pretty easy cleanup too. I mean, one or two pizza pans or baking pans. But yeah, those we still make those once in a while for just nostalgia purposes. But my kids always enjoyed making those because they got to make their own. So those were my quick go-tos. Anybody else want anything to add on that?
So I have two more. And it kind of piggybacks with the crock pot. So growing up, my mom made roast, but she did it in the oven, but I do mine in crock pot. And you put the roast in your crock pot early in the morning, like when the kids are getting ready for school. You can prepare your potatoes the night before, peel them and chop them up, put them in water and let them sit in the fridge. and drain it in the morning, put it in a crock pot. You add your Worcester sour sauce, how you pronounce it. You add a lot of that. Put your potatoes, you can add baby carrots into it. You can add whatever, vegetables or whatever you want into it. And you let it cook all day. And by like 6 o'clock that night, it's done. And then an old friend of mine taught me how to make homemade Alfredo. And you can eat it with noodles. You can eat it with chicken and noodles. So, noodles take what, like 5 minutes maybe. So the Alfredo is just, you get 2 sticks of butter. You put a few tablespoons of garlic, and then you get your heavy cream. And I normally put a big carton of the heavy cream in, and you put that into a saucepan. You let it melt, and whenever it starts to bubble, you take it off of the heat completely. And then you can buy the Parmesan wedge, shred it, or I like to get the real Parmesan cheese that's in the deli area that's already shredded. And you dump that into your saucepan, you mix it up. I like to put mine back on the heat for just a little while. You really need to pay attention to it. Otherwise it will like bubble over and make a huge mess. But it literally takes like 2 minutes to make, and it is so quick and it's so good. And you will never buy a jar of Alfredo again.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I've always wanted a recipe for Alfredo sauce because I love Alfredo.
I will message it to you, and I'll send you another message for a cabbage bacon sausage Alfredo.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, now I have a cabbage soup that I like to make. And believe it or not, I'm not big on cabbage. Typically, I don't care for cabbage. But we used to have a restaurant, a fancy restaurant here in St. Albans. It's called River's Edge. And used to be the go-to. They used to have the amazing hush puppies and this amazing butter that you could dip it in. And they always served cabbage soup ahead of time, as your first course. And it was a tomato-y based. It was kind of a sweet and tangy. And that restaurant has closed down. But since I made my own mimic version of it, and it was so good, guys. I'm telling you. My oldest daughter's birthday is in October. So one year we did a big Halloween party for her birthday party. And then another year we did Harry Potter. So now I don't remember which one it was. But anyway, one of her birthdays, maybe both of them, I made bat wing soup. And I made that cabbage soup, but I used purple cabbage and I cut them in the shape of bat wings. So they actually thought they were eating bat wings in soup. It was really, really cool. And it's a sweet and tangy tomato based, and I'm going to make everybody upset that's watching because I'm not going to share the recipe because that's one of my favorite dishes. However, I'll email it to you guys. For our podcast viewers, if you really, really want a copy of the recipe, then you're going to have to do 3 things. Well, 4 things. You're going to have to like, you're going to have to subscribe, you're going to have to ring that bell so you get notifications, and leave a comment on the podcast. I want the cabbage soup recipe, and I'll give it to you. Anywho. Okay. As far as recipes, anybody else have anything quick go to?
I was going to say, one thing that I've kind of gotten out of it right now because I'm home mostly. But I would take like a Saturday or Sunday and I would make meals for the week and freeze them. And so I might use up all the ground beef. I would go ahead and cook up all my ground beef and go ahead and put in Ziploc baggies and have my vegetables all chopped up and ready to go, and then have that planned out. So that made it easier when I just needed to grab something. And I didn't have to do it every week. I could do it once a month. I also think that a lot of people are running around in the mornings and they don't get a good breakfast in the morning. And my husband was guilty of that when he worked day shift. So I would make up breakfast wraps for him to take because those were super easy. So I would get like a big thing of tortillas from like Aldi. You can buy like a package of like 20 tortillas for just a couple dollars. And I would just make scrambled eggs, put some cheese in it, crumble up some sausage or bacon or whatever I happen to have on hand, and get it all together and just scoop it in. And I would just wrap them up and wrap them in foil and put them in a bag. And then he just take them out first thing in the morning, pop it in the microwave for a minute. And so he was getting a better fulfilling breakfast. So not junk cereal, which was becoming his go-to, but something that was a little bit better for him. I mean, I get like the good bacon, because I know everybody's going to yell at me and tell me bacon isn't good for you. So I always get the healthy bacon, or the turkey sausage. But if you have any time and you can plan it ahead of time, then freezer meals are a really good way to go to as well. So, and basically anything that you would cook anyway, you can just go ahead and cook and freeze. There, most everything can be frozen. So, so that way, if you're running around and your week gets out of whack or something, you got something to just grab out of the freezer.
Nice. And Kristen said that she has a homemade salsa recipe that would go with those chips and dip too. And my husband has a nacho dip recipe that's really freaking amazing. The kids actually asked for it for dinner. They're like, can we have Kitty's chips and dip or nachos and dip for dinner? Like, well, it's not really dinner food. Well, can you make sausage balls or something to go with it? I'm like, what do we have in New Year's?
Yeah, so my grandmother is Cajun French and my grandfather is Mexican. So they taught me how to make homemade salsa. And I kid you not, like, I think maybe $5 or $6 at most to make it. And you will never buy a jar of it again. Like, it is so good and it's so authentic.
Nice. Well, I want that recipe too. But ladies, if you all would, I know it's asking more time of you, but if you would write down your recipes or type up your recipes, or if you've even just got old recipes that you're using, snap a picture of it. If you're willing to share it with us, if you wouldn't care, so that we can go into the next question, because I definitely want all these recipes. I want to try them. But if you don't care to share them, then maybe we can come back later and drop them in the comments, so that people can come back and get the other recipes. That would be amazing. Yes, I do want that salsa recipe too. But moving on, our next question is, what is your kids' favorite family game or activity? And do you hold a family game night?
Uno, all the way. Uno, I whoop them every time. But it's so cool because we all get to sit around the table, even the little baby. And we have this little chalkboard where we will write the first initial of the person that won the hand. My son has cried many a times. But and then, like, my mom doesn't live here. She lives in a different state. So when she comes in, it's like, oh, it's Uno time. And so they are obsessed. They absolutely love it. I think it's cool. And it gives us this awesome amount of time to spend together and just really like bond. So I really enjoy it. I never thought my kids would like Uno, and I make them play by the rules too, because people be trying to make up their own stuff, and I'm like, no, it's not how this goes.
Yeah, so for us, it's definitely Uno. And we love Uno Attack, which is a lot more like, it has this little machine with it. And so instead of like a draw 2 or a draw 4, you have to hit the button that many times, and you might get cards, you might get 1 or 2, you might get 5, you might not get any. But another one of ours is Grounded for Life. It's a Cards Against Humanity for 8-year-olds, 8 and up. And it is hilarious. We have so many laughs with it. And of course, my daughter loves the pie in the face game. And I try to do like game nights and stuff like that, typically like on a weekend, Friday or Saturday, where we do like movies and games and, pizza or, whatever we're in the mood for. So
Katie, how about you?
Well, today actually, my two youngest love playing Ticket to Ride with me. It's a great geography game. It helps them learn strategies, and it helps them to learn like where places are. Well, I just have the American version, but there's like European versions and Asian versions, and like you can go all around the world, and you're trying to get the tracks on from here to there, and not let anybody else get on your track. It's a whole thing. As a family, we love to play Speak Out. I don't know if you guys have heard that one with the mouth guard, and you're trying to guess what the person is saying, but they have the mouth guard in, and so they're trying to say, that one cracks us up. Oh my word, it is hilarious. You cannot do it without spitting on each other. You cannot. I mean, if you want to get a good laugh, the only problem with that game is there's no end to it. So it just keeps going on and on and on.
Until somebody is completely wet.
Yes. And it's hard finding games that like my 15-year-old wants to play, that my 9-year-old also wants to play. But another good one is headbands, which is like you wrap the thing around your head and you stick the card in and you're trying to guess. That's a good one too, but that's another one that doesn't have an end to it. So, but yeah, those are our 3 top games, I think.
Yeah, I'm always a big game player. I've always tried to encourage the kids to come in and play games. And in fact, we have the family trophy, or a family night trophy, and it's a little statue. He's about maybe 6-7 inches tall. And it's actually Mr. Monopoly, from the Monopoly. It's the Monopoly guy with the top hat and the little eyepiece, and he's holding cards. But it's a little bronze plastic statue. So whoever won family game night would get to keep Mr. Monopoly on their dresser until we had the next game night, which I tried to do at least once or twice a month. Sometimes we did it every week. And our go-to games, we played the mouth guard game where it pulls your lips open and you're showing your teeth and you're having to tough it out. Yeah, without in your lips, and it's really fun. We've done that one. We bought her a board game, and it was called The Redneck Life. And if you have never played it, it is hilarious because it's kind of based on the game of life. You remember the game of life with the spinner, and you had to go around in the car and put your little babies in the car as you go around, you collect babies and pay taxes. And it's kind of like that, but it's like, every time you'd have a baby, it would be like, the name would all be the same. It would be like, I don't remember what it was now. It's been so long ago, but it was like Norman Ray and Norman Poe and Norman this and Norman that. And I mean, it was like, you may have had a whole house full of baby Normans and maybe one Luann. It really is a funny game. Then in your houses, you get to pick like a mobile home or a truck with a topper on the back, so you can sleep in the bed of the truck, or a school bus has been converted into a mobile home. It's really funny. I know it may sound, I guess it kind of sounds bad, but it was a fun game. Anywho, the big one in my house when the kids were home was Clue. They liked playing Clue. We did play Uno. We played a lot of Rummy. But our go-to game, I guess, for a quick and easy game night was dice. And let me think of what the proper name is. But anyway,
Yahtzee.
No, it's not Yahtzee. You have 6 dice, and if you roll a straight, which is like 1 through 6, then that's 1,500 points. And each time you roll, you have to get a dice that plays, and you put it to the side, and then you get to keep rolling until you don't get any dice that plays. And your dice that plays is like 1 is 100, 5 is 50. And then if you have if you have 3 dice, that's 3 of a kind, like 3 6s, that would be 600, 3 4s would be 400. And then each additional dice. So like if you had the 3 6s, which would be 600, if you rolled 4 6s, then it would double it. So you'd get 1,200. But yeah, anyway, can't remember the name of it. Daggone it. Anyway, it was a quick, easy game that we used to play all the time. And we still play it occasionally when I get them all together. So game night was a big deal for us around here. So, and yeah, maybe instead of having dinner night once a month, maybe I just need to go back to having game night. Because as a horror author, my daughters bought me the Alice Cooper Nightmares game. It's a card game similar to Cards Against Humanity. It's kind of like the matching game kind of thing. But yeah, and then this past year, she got me the additional card packs for it. I'm like, you keep buying me these card packs for this card game, but nobody wants to play it with me. Families on a budget. Your best tips for families on tight budgets. What are your best suggestions for vacations? Or if money is really tight, a staycation. You know what a staycation is? That's where you stay home and vacation. Vacation at home. So what are your best tips for budget-friendly vacations for a family?
So for us, I mean, I would say making like a little tent and camp out in the yard. I live out in the country, so make a fun little camp thing outside. And then of course, if you really want to go somewhere, there's a lot of places, parks and stuff where you can go, camping and stuff. And typically I think if you have a tent, I think it's roughly like $35-$40 at most. And then, some places, around, can do cabins and stuff like that are pretty cheap. Or, maybe stay one night in a hotel, that's close by. Go to the swimming pool, because I know over here by us living in Tennessee, we have the Opry Mills, which is a part of the Grand Ole Opry and all of that. And they also have the Opry Hotel, and they have a water park. So a lot of times families that live in Tennessee will use the discount to go stay there and use the water park and everything, and just have a fun little like a day or night there. But definitely making a camp out in your yard, have some lights, get the Christmas lights out and get all that stuff, I mean, just make it fun.
Yeah, actually, camping used to be our go-to. In fact, our whole family would go every year. We'd all go together. We'd go to Lake Sherwood, up from the Greenbrier, and beautiful campground. It's if you're ever in the area and you get a chance, go do a weekend camping trip at Lake Sherwood. It's beautiful. But anyway, we used to go as an entire family, extended family. My aunt, uncle, grandparents, cousins. I mean, we would all go when I was young, and it was fun. We would get like 4 or 5 sites, and we'd all pile in, and we'd, do daytime activities together. And then we'd all come around the campfire and help cook. We'd all pitch in and cook together at night. And that was something that I was going to suggest. She mentioned camping. If you are on a tight budget, if you can get extended family or even friends to go in on a campsite, usually they'll allow up to 8 to 10 people in one campsite. So you split that between 2 families, you're camping $15 a night, sometimes cheaper. So that was my suggestion. But yeah, we've done the tent in the living room before as a camp out because it was too cold outside when they wanted to go camping. It ended up staying up for a month. So yeah, be cautious with that.
We do a lot of camping too to save money, but we recently, I just wanted to do something different this year. We always do something when the kids finish school to celebrate the end of the school year. And so for Christmas, instead of like everybody giving my kids gifts that they just mess up and throw away anyway, and even me and my husband, like we didn't want gifts. I just asked for money. And I just started saving like a little bit here and there. And so I've just put away like a couple dollars here if I got something, or and I had a yard sale and I put all the money from the yard sale into the vacation fund. And so, I mean, we're actually going to Dollywood next week with my parents, but it's fully funded. I don't have to worry about it and take it out of my regular budget. But I do try to plan, like when we are on vacation, whatever my grocery bill is regularly, like that's my grocery bill for food for that week at a vacation. So I just try to be like flipping it over. I'm just changing locations. So anything that you can do to kind of like cut back on that, if you have to go somewhere, those are good things to do. But if you're staying home, I don't know, in our area, we have a wonderful website called Kidding Around Greenville. And they've put together like all the free and cheap things to do around Greenville, and Hendersonville, North Carolina is not far from us, and Asheville, and all these places that you can go for day trips. And so I'll try to like find things that are kid appropriate, and we might just go up to the mountains for the day and get subs from Publix, and head up to the mountains and explore, or go to a little town that we haven't been to before and just wander around. And as a homeschool mom, a little tip for my fellow homeschool moms, a lot of places have homeschool days, and they offer discounts for homeschoolers. So if you check out, like, I know the Great Wolf Lodge has one. I think it's like $99 a night or something like that if you go during homeschool days. A lot of aquariums and zoos and like educational places offer like discounts to homeschoolers as well. So if you want to go somewhere, check out and see if they have some kind of discount for you.
Those are great tips. Thank you for that. And you were talking about saving up for your family vacation fund. I know we have a big jug, one of those big water jugs in our house. And anytime anybody gets pocket change, instead of you don't put it on your dresser, you don't leave it in your pants, you drop it in the jug. And we use that jug to help pay towards vacations. We're used to, because it used to be the kids would get excited about dumping change in it and then dumping it out and helping count it. Now it's just going as a savings fund for the grandbaby's college. But yeah, but when you have a large family like you do, then yeah, get the kids involved, get them excited about it. Say, okay, you want to go on a cool vacation, you want to do something really fun, start saving up them pennies and drop them in the vacation jug and the money jug. Yeah, great ideas.
That's actually what we do too. We have a couple of things around the house where we collect coins, and we'll actually use that as money to either eat out or do things like that. But I remember one time when I was pregnant with my youngest, and we took all the kids, so the older kids and the younger kid and the kid that wasn't born yet, and then the two of us. So we had to have a room that was big enough. So we had a suite that had 2 bedrooms and a bathroom in the middle and stuff. So instead of going directly on the beach, we just went across the street and then took the stroller across to get to the water and stuff, and carried our stuff. And then something else that we did is, starting the Christmas before, any type of gift card, because people would always give us gift cards to restaurants. So instead of using it for like date night or whatever, we would just save them all. And his boss always gives him something for his birthday or being there forever. And so he'll have like Logan's or whatever. And so we had like 20 gift cards for food. And so we used those. We literally did not have to pay to eat out anywhere, because we had so many gift cards that we would just go to those places. And so that helped a whole lot. So it made it so we were really only paying for the hotel and then anything that we wanted to do extra. And then the night before, I went to the grocery store and bought staples. So like Nutri-Grain bars, Rice Krispie treats, bread, milk, sandwich stuff. So like the only time that we were eating outside of our room, if we got hungry at the beach, we already had stuff packed in a cooler that we carried across the street, and you grab a sandwich and a drink and whatever you need. So the only time we were really paying for food is when we were going out, and then that was supplied through gift cards. So it really helped us to have a good vacation and to also be conscious of the money that we were spending.
That's a great tip. I really like that. I like that idea.
And
That's-
something else, since you're in West Virginia, I mean, no, your kids aren't small anymore, but like Summersville Lake is 2 hours away from us.
Mhm.
And so I will take the kids because it's free to go just to go to the lake. Like if you're going to stay to camp, obviously you got to pay for that. And if you're going to stay in one of the cabins, you got to pay for that. But we'll go up for the whole day. We'll take all our own food. And then on our way back, we'll stop at some like mom and pop place that has amazing food and just enjoy it and enjoy our time together. And then the kids are so tired that they're sleeping the entire way home. And then of course, if it's mom and dad, you get some time together alone while they're sleeping. And so it just makes for a really nice day. That's something that we always do in the summer too.
Yeah, that is a great idea too. Sometimes vacations doesn't need to be a week long or 2 weeks long. Sometimes you just need an entire day with the family or with a significant other. If you know you can get a sitter for the kids, leave the kids with grandma for a weekend, do a weekend getaway for just you and your significant other. And those trips are a lot cheaper too when you're not taking all the kids with you that need snacks every 30 minutes. But yeah, and another tip on the traveling is be sure you sign up for those hotel priority memberships. It's free to sign up for to get a hotel priority card, you know, and literally every hotel you check into. So what if it takes you 4 years to save up enough points? Were you going to be in 4 years? Then you'll have a week free stay at wherever you end up staying at the most. I have a card at every one of the hotel chains. You know, Hilton, Embassy Suites, all of them. I have all of them. And every time we stay anywhere, especially for book signings, and that's something else, guys. If you got a business and you're traveling for any type of business, dude, tax write off. Yeah, you used to get that hotel room for your book signing or your the show you're doing or whatever you're doing. Get that hotel room, sign up for the priority card, get your points for it, keep the receipt, use it for a tax write-off, save the points for family vacation for a free room.
Yeah, and to add to that, so we have a Hilton's credit card, and we use that for our grocery shopping, for whatever we buy, for gas, everything. And like my husband, he budgets everything. So we just, that's what we do. And then that's how we pay for our rooms. And yeah.
Yep,
So worth
absolutely.
it.
Have you ever turned them in for the airline points yet? That's one thing I haven't signed up for is the airline points yet. On the credit, where you can sign up where your credit cards or the even the hotel points cards, you can sign up to get airline points. Has anyone done that yet?
So I don't fly. I've never flown before because I'm scared to death. I would be the one that would be like freaking out. Give me Benadryl, give me an alcoholic drink, let me go to sleep and carry me onto the plane. And then make sure I stay asleep.
Well,
So
girl, let me tell you, I'm terrified of heights. And the first time I got on a plane, it was on one of the little ones, one of the little commuter planes going to one airport to another to get on the big plane. And let me tell you, I was terrified and I cried and I cried and I cried. And I was an adult with 2 children at the time.
yeah, so
I had literally wrote out my will before the trip saying, who's going to get custody of my children if my plane goes down?
oh my goodness.
But after I did it, I loved it. I loved it. I love to fly now.
Yeah, my husband, he's flown many times, but we drive everywhere. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, well, the older you get, your back and hips and stuff are going to start hurting. And those car trips, they kind of suck, especially if they're really long. Yeah, at least get one. Make sure you have a vehicle with heated seats. At least help with the hips if you're going to drive a long ways. Okay, so what was the one vacation that you went all out and it was worth every penny? Or have you done that vacation yet to where you went all out and it was worth every penny? Me personally, it was taking the kids to Disney. And I got to tell you though, when we took my oldest daughter when she was 4, the Disney trip was the best. But the second time I took them down and my kids were a little older, hands down, Universal Studios. Skip Disney. If the kids are older, skip Disney and go straight to Universal Studios. Way better trip, way worth the money. And I gotta say, if they're little, yes, still take them to Disney. Let them have that Disney experience. But when they're, I would say 12 and up, just go straight to Universal. That's just my advice. What about you guys?
So-
We are, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, you go.
Oh, thank you. We are taking, it hasn't happened yet, but we are taking a vacation starting the 18th of May. I'm going to be bad mommy, and my kids' last day of school is going to be the 18th of May, even though they don't get out until the 25th. My mother-in-law is turning 70, and so her request this year was that everyone board Serenade of the Seas. And so we're going on a cruise May 20th through the 25th. We're going to drive down to Tampa and then get on the boat and spend 6 days on that boat. I already know, like, if the whole family, there's like 40 of us, it's going to be like Soul Food Sunday, but a whole week on a boat. Like, it's going to be amazing. I don't care how much money we spent. Actually, it was actually pretty good because the kids were free. So I'm super stoked. I cannot wait. I need this so bad. We have not been on vacation in like 4 years. And there's just gonna be so much to do. Like, I'm gonna do silly things like take a sushi making class. I'm gonna make my significant other get a couples massage because he's never had one. It's actually cheaper on the boat than it is at a spa at home. Like, we're just gonna go all out in the pools, water slides. We're going to the Bahamas, so my kids are gonna be able to get off the boat. This is gonna be an experience for them that they will remember for the rest of their lives. So I just think it's so cool. I never got to do anything like this at this age, like that my kids are. So to be able to do this with them and for them is just A1. And I'm super stoked. And I cannot wait to tell you guys about how great it is when I get
That
back.
is exciting. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's like, I'm jealous.
I
I'm
know.
definitely, like, messaging you and gonna be picking your brain. So yeah, so we have gone to Disney 3 times. My mother-in-law has a Disney card, so she gets like points and stuff. So typically a lot of it's like discounted, like the room will stay at one of the like Disney resorts, whatever. And yeah, I think that's probably like where we go all out. But we always travel to Texas to go see my family, because that's where all my family and everybody lives at, is down there. And then his dad lives up in Utah. So we have actually driven without stopping the 26 hours drive from Tennessee to Utah, without stopping. And I'll never do that again. That was exciting. I think that if you've never been to Utah or Arizona or anywhere up there, you definitely need to do it. Because the rock in Utah is just like, it's just so pigmented. It's beautiful. Like, pictures and descriptions of it doesn't do it justice. You can rent an ATV and dune buggy or whatever and go to I think it's called Pink Sands is what it is.
Yeah, it's called Pink
And
Sands.
you can drive dune buggies and ATVs and stuff in the sands, and it's a blast. So, but anywhere for like a beach is like my go-to place because I enjoy fishing and everything. So yeah.
That's cool. I'm not a huge beach kind of person because I hate the sand. I hate the way it feels. I don't like it in my shoes. I don't like it in my clothes. I don't like the sand. I like sitting near the beach. I like the listening to the ocean and the smell of the saltwater air and all that. But and yeah, don't care much for the actual ocean. But my bucket list is New Orleans. I want to go to New Orleans and I want to ride an airboat. I want to ride an airboat. What about you, Katie?
Well, we're kind of moochers. We we go every year. My family owns a house on Fripp Island. My parents and my sister and brother-in-law and some of their friends all own a house together in Fripp Island. and we all take turns. So my family goes down every year in May. So it's all the cousins and aunts and uncles and my parents kind of run things. So we're not actually doing that this year, but that's been our go-to for like 20 years now. It's just a really easy vacation. But one trip that my kids just still talk about is on a whim, like I follow all the Groupon sites and all the, all the couponing sites and all that stuff. And there was a trip to Myrtle Beach. It was like right before spring break got started. So they were doing this like fabulous deal. And when you homeschool, you can go on vacation whenever you want to. And so it was staying at this really nice hotel that was right on the beach. And it included a breakfast buffet at this really super nice restaurant. And it had a lazy river, and it was right near the boardwalk. So there was like all the shops and the fun stuff for the kids to do. And it was right there. And the kids beg us. It was so fun. We only went for like 2 or 3 days. I can't even remember, but the memories that they made, they just love that place so very much. They just still talk about it. Myrtle Beach is not my favorite place to go. I would rather go to Fripp Island because I don't like all the people. And at Fripp Island, you can't go unless you're like staying on the island. So I love the privacy of that beach. But yeah, but I think any vacation with your family can be like the best vacation ever.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what I was going to say is I'm so envious of you all where you have large families that you still get together, and I miss that. Like I said, we used to all go camping together when I was young, when I was a kid, and then when I became an adult, we went a few years after I got married and had my babies. We went for a few years, but they started drifting apart. Families started drifting apart. Cousins went their way and did their thing, and yeah, I miss those days. So yeah, appreciate them. Appreciate that family while you've got them before they drift apart or before they start to pass away. Because unfortunately, we all get older. But yeah, definitely, moms out there, enjoy your families, no matter how big or small, but hold them very dear. Okay, so I think we're about ready to wrap. Any special advice on maybe taking care of a sick child, favorite boo-boo medicine, just something short and quick, like if you've got a child that's vomiting, what do you give them? If they scrape their knee, what's the best no pain medicine that you use? Just give us your short, quick, best advice for upset tummies or to keep them from getting dehydrated, or best boo-boo medicine.
So for me, rice packs, or rice socks. I know that a lot of grocery stores or even on Amazon, you can buy like stuffed animals that has the rice and stuff in that you can just pop into the microwave. I've realized that helps a lot. Motrin, keep Motrin on hand. It will be your best friend. And just kind of keep popsicles, probably sugar-free popsicles if they have like stomach aches.
Or
Jello.
they even have like the Pedialyte popsicle stuff now.
They do. My daughter doesn't like those, but so I try to keep just regular. They have the real fruit popsicles that you can buy. So I get those, and that seems to help. And Sprite. So, and they like it whenever I make a cup of hot tea. So let them put an ice cube or 2 in it. So yeah.
You guys know, you may know, but I do a lot of natural stuff and I make my own things and sell them. But so that means that my kids have a plethora of things in their arsenal to help them. I've gotten really lucky. My kids don't normally get very sick. They've never had ear infections. They've never been on antibiotics. But they will get fevers. And so I am a firm believer in letting the fever rest so that it allows the white blood cell count to go up and it allows the infection to essentially be fought by the immune system. I truly believe that's why my son is not ever sick. I mean, we've had COVID twice in this house, just ran through a whole stomach virus, and he's scot-free, hasn't been sick at all, like immune system of steel. But one thing that they love that I do is when they do have a fever, if it starts to get above 100 degrees, I will put them in a lukewarm bath with either Dr. Teal's eucalyptus Epsom salt, or I'll put eucalyptus oil in the bathtub. It will immediately bring the fever down by at least 2 degrees. And so their teeth will chatter a little bit when they get out, which is good. It's supposed to do that. You wrap them up, get them real warm, put their pajamas on. I usually put on flannel pants, long sleeve shirt, a pair of socks. I will put natural vapor rub on the feet and the chest, tell them to go lay down, and they're usually fine the next day. I keep my own tinctures on hand. They take an antiviral tincture almost every day, especially since the whole COVID pandemic. Because the school year after that, woo, the sickness. But they love the eucalyptus bath, and then we keep ginger ale on tap. Like that's their favorite thing. They don't normally drink soda, but if they're sick, I will let them have that. Same thing, Kristen, they love a cup of hot tea, and I'll actually cut a fresh piece of ginger root and put it in the bottom of the cup and then put the tea bag in, pour the hot water on it and let it bloom on its own. And that really helps with upset stomach. With boo-boos, I usually try to let it breathe. I don't really try to put too much stuff on it unless it's really, really bad. Like if it does need some Neosporin, okay, we'll put that on there. So I don't give Band-Aids unless it's really, really bad, just because I want the skin to breathe and I want it to be able to kind of scab over. And I've taught them not to pick scabs so that that'll actually heal. And I explain the healing process of the skin to them so that they know why they need the scab and not to pick it off. Because we all know kids will pick at scabs for whatever reason. I'm like, why do you want to rip this off? This is horrible. It feels bad. So those are our go-tos in our house.
I'm on the same wavelength as you girls, because that's what we do too. A lot of natural stuff. I'm a big believer in, like, our kids will stay healthy if they're playing outside a lot. So, and I live in an environment where we can play outside pretty much all year round. We have mild winters. I'm a firm believer in there's no bad weather. There's just bad clothing. So if it's raining outside, my kids are probably going to play outside at some point in the rain. They just need to dress appropriately. My kids run around barefoot. They get a lot of natural, antibodies from that. They stay pretty healthy. They're just, they might get a fever. My daughter did have a fever the other night, but I do a lot of the natural stuff with her too. I'm a firm believer that a fever shouldn't be treated, as long as it's not making them super uncomfortable, and it's not super high. I won't treat a fever until it gets to that point, or it's been not going down for it's been a couple days and they're still running a fever. Then we got a problem. But for like ear infections and stuff, I actually make like a garlic oil on the stove. You got to be careful with it, because actually I did it to myself one time and I burned the inside of my ear. So you want to make sure it's cooled down enough, but you put a little bit of olive oil on the stove and you chop up a little fresh garlic in with it. And then you get one of those eyedroppers and just get some of the oil up into there and just drop a couple of drops in their ear. And that is a big, huge help in healing up ear infections. I've also done an onion muff, where you carve out the inside of the onion and you put it like in the microwave and get it heated up. And then you wrap it in a wet towel and just cover it over their ear and let them lie on it. And it kind of draws out the infection as well. I'm a big, if you're feeling bad, I like to make hot tea. We get fresh honey from my daughter's best friends. They have a bee farm. So we get like really local, really fresh honey. And so I'll put some lemon in it, some, like fresh lemon. The more like natural stuff that you can use, the better. Because a lot of that other stuff has things in it that we might not want for our kids. I do a lot of ginger drops, like the ginger candies and stuff. If their stomachs are upset, I'll keep ginger ale or Sprite if they have an upset stomach. But yeah, I think there's a lot of natural stuff that we can use, and we'll do essential oils too. And I'll put if they're having a hard time breathing, I'll put the diffuser in their room with like peppermint or thieves oil in it, and let them breathe that in, and it helps a lot.
Awesome. Wow, you guys are just full of information. I hope that our viewers stay on long enough to get all those cool tips. That was amazing. Thank you guys. And my kids are grown. I don't have any more tips. Best tips I have for you moms out there is take lots and lots and lots and lots of photos, make time for yourself, and treasure every minute you can with them. But my last question for you ladies is, help these moms out there deal with stress. How do they keep from going on a yelling rant or a butt busting day, or how do they just keep their cool? How do they keep their cool?
Honestly, for me, so my daughter, like I said earlier, she is a pistol. She's very stubborn. And she will test you. I normally have to break myself away, and give her space and time to calm down. I enjoy being able to just go sit outside, relax, calm down, have a drink, whether it's a glass of wine or just something to drink. Just take yourself away from whatever's going on. If you need to take a hot bath or a hot shower, do it. Other than that, it's just I'm winging it and hoping I'm doing everything good.
And if you elect to do the hot bath or shower, lock the door so you can get 5 minutes of privacy. So you can actually get and enjoy that peaceful state for at least 5 or 10 minutes. Hopefully you can get a little longer, but anyone else?
So actually, I'm blessed to have my mom in the neighborhood. My mom and dad are here in the neighborhood. So my mom and I both have dogs. And so she'll come by every day. And sometimes the kids want to go with us, and that's fine. But we'll walk the dogs around the neighborhood, and I'll just vent to her. And, or we also live close to a mountain, and we'll go on like hikes and stuff like that with our dogs too. So just getting outside and just being in the fresh air does a lot. And just having somebody that I can confide in and tell my frustrations to is a big deal for me. I don't do well keeping things inside. I have to talk to somebody about it. So I'm very fortunate that my mama lives nearby, and that she's my best friend, so that I can complain to her, and she also feels it, because if she sees that I'm really, really stressed, she'll take the kids for me and give me a couple hours by myself and stuff. So it goes back to what I said earlier about having a support system and making sure that you accept other people's help, to give yourself a break when you need one.
It really does take a village.
Yes, it does. One thing of advice that I have is, this is a hard one and sometimes a little controversial. I also understand that every mom does not have this opportunity, but if you do, please take heed. Have a very in-depth conversation with your husband, significant other, whomever. And I hope and pray that you have the space where you can let them know that certain things overwhelm you, certain things take you over the edge, certain things you just cannot deal with sometimes, and talk to them about that and explain what your boundaries are. before baby gets here. Sometimes you don't get to have that conversation until after baby gets here, but it's imperative to have a working household that mom is not so stressed out, because what we really essentially want to do is try to limit the stressors versus mom just trying to figure out how she's going to mask all of that stress. I definitely agree with the hot baths and the self-care, and I don't mean like the whimsical things. I mean the raw, I need to go cry in the shower for a minute, so I'm gonna go lock the door and leave me alone. Moments, take those moments, have the girls' nights, do what you need to do. Don't lose sight of who you are, like we talked about at the beginning. But the biggest thing is, I think, especially concerning stress, is that as moms, when your kids get older and for each phase that you go through trying to raise them, understand there's going to come a point in every phase where you're just like, you know what, this doesn't bother me anymore, because you're like, I give up. There is no manual. We said it a million times. It's difficult. It's hard. There's days that you do cry. There's days you do need to lock yourself in the bathroom, and just know that there's going to come a breaking point at each phase where you're not giving up. You're just like, this thing that I'm so stressed out about, or that I'm trying to bend to be a certain way, is not that important. The health and safety of my children is more important. My sanity is more important. Prime example, the rooms. I'm so glad we talked about that today. I can't stand a dirty room, but that's my expectation. That is not the personality of my son. It's not because he's trying to lash out or he doesn't want to clean up his room. He just doesn't care if it's a pigsty because he's an 8-year-old boy. I care that it's a pigsty because I'm a 36-year-old OCD woman. And so you have to learn how to have balance and really look for places where you can reduce the stress, so we don't have to have the crying in the shower moments. But don't forget, when you need the cry in the shower moment, mama, please take it. Please, please take it, because you deserve it. You deserve to have that, even if it's 10 minutes to yourself. You deserve it, and you need it to keep on going through this journey called motherhood.
Wonderful. Wow. And guys, I gotta say, I don't know that I could have said anything different or better to have ended it like that. I mean, thank you. That was an amazing summary and great advice. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. And I'm going to give you, I'm going to have you go around one last time. And if you do have a business or something that you want to promote, because we want to promote you as a person and not just as a mom, because you are more than a mom. Wonderful mothers, no doubt, but you're more than a mom, and let's celebrate that too. So if you do have a business, or you're working somewhere, you're doing something special, or working on a project, or if you're in a group that you want to promote, social gatherings that you do, whatever that you are doing that helps unique you be you, please share, please promote yourself. And thank you again, ladies, so much for being on here. I'm going to go ahead and start, and then I'm going to let you all finish up. I'm London Blue, and I am an author, and I do primarily write horror, typically horror, adult horror. However, since I have become a grandmother, oh gosh, that sounds awful. No, it doesn't. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm a grandmother. I did write a book called Baby Jen. It is dedicated to my granddaughter, and it is based on our 5 living generations of Appalachian women. It is a book of poetry, and in the front, I'm going to show you guys this because it's really special to me. But in the front is an actual picture of our 5 living generations with Baby Jen. And yeah, for those who pray and have faith in the superior being, yeah, if you could sing good vibes and prayers for my grandmother and my mom. Anywho, so that's what I did. And since the grandbaby's been born, I have kind of shifted gears. I'm not writing so much real horror, gory stuff so much anymore, other than short stories. It's been asked of me for anthologies. I have shifted gears. I am doing more middle grade. My last book I just published was The Tabar, and it's a middle grade mystery appropriate for 8, 9, 10-year-olds up. there is one curse word in it, and it's the very last word in the book. So if you're worried about that, you can go to the very last word and scratch it out for your kids, read it. The Tabar was actually drawn by Hollywood prop master Kelly Farrer from The Walking Dead, Pirates of the Caribbean, Last of the Mohicans. Really good friend of mine. You can see this one, he actually autographed. Oh yeah, and Baby Jen was endorsed by Hollywood actress Melanie Kinnaman, the last girl from Friday the 13th. So yeah, being a mom has been wonderful. And like I said, I haven't really started focusing on me until they got older to where they didn't need me. And since the grandbabies come along, I've shifted gears and kind of gotten away from more of my passion. And maybe I'm losing myself again, because my passion's always been Halloween and scary stuff and gruesome stuff. And now that the grandbaby's around, I'm restructuring myself again to write more for them, more appropriate. And so I don't know, am I losing myself again? I don't know. Or maybe I'm just rediscovering a new me. Who knows? Anyway, I'm London Blue. You can find me on all social media under WV London Blue. And who wants to go next?
I can go. So I'm Kristen, and I am also a author. My daughter was actually my inspiration for my covers. So this is called Within Her Thoughts. It is just basically a collection of my poetry, which is another way that I actually help to relieve stress and anxiety and depression and all the feels. And I'm actually getting ready to release book 2 at the end of this month. I also have started making bookmarks, and I'm going to start selling those here soon. And this is a Wednesday themed bookmark. And basically it's really neat. So it's got a little button, and you just undo it and you put it wherever in your book you want, wherever you're at, and you put it, and then, but yeah, anyway, bookmark, I'm making those. I've got a few different patterns that I'm doing. A good friend of mine and we have a Facebook group called Murphy and Vincent, and we do a lot of stuff on there right now with May being the mental health awareness. We're doing each day we're contributing something along the lines of that. You can find me on Facebook under Kristen Vincent-Author. You can also find me on Instagram under, I think, K Vincent-Author as well. So
I am an editor, full-time freelance editor. I'm also an author. I wrote this book for my kids called Why Did You Choose Me? It's about adoption and foster care, but it's actually been used in schools and stuff because it's really just about how each kid fits into their home, their family. I think every kid asks that question, like, wouldn't you rather have a kid who cleans their room? And then the mom it's from the mom's point of view, talking to her child, and it's got silly little pictures and stuff that my good friend Sarah Strickling Jones, who is a art teacher here in our public schools, she designed the cover and did all of this for me. I also have an adoption devotional that I'm working on to go along with it to help foster parents and adoptive parents in the bonding part with their family to see what God has to say about adoption and how families are uniquely created, and just what God says about us as families. Hopefully that will be coming out next year, but it's called Children of the Promise, what the Bible says about adoption. So look for that from an Ambassador International. And I'm also available for editing. I edit all kinds, nonfiction, Christian fiction, regular fiction, children's books. I've done pretty much all of it. So you can find me on Facebook at Katie Cruice Smith, editor, author. On Instagram, I think it's author Katie Smith on Instagram. They didn't let me have all the characters on that one. And you can find me on, I think Twitter is author KTC Smith. And I also am the admin for a group on Facebook that I would love anybody to join called Christian Fiction Readers. And it's just for people to connect who are looking for good, clean books. And we connect you with authors. There's a lot of people just on there looking for books that, are uplifting and encouraging. And so join me on there and let's chat.
Awesome. Thank you. And Liv.
Well, let me just say that this is amazing. You guys are amazingly talented, and it's an honor to be on this podcast with you this evening. I'm not an author, but I am Dr. Liv, and I'm a board certified natural wellness practitioner and an educator of functional medicine. My main client base is burnt out, tired, frustrated moms. The story behind how I created my signature program, Divine Woman, is that I was a woman that suffered from infertility, PCOS, endometriosis, and was told by a medical professional that I would never be able to have my own children. And I changed my lifestyle. I changed what I was doing, changed what I was eating, changed everything about my life. And I now have 2 children of my own, boy and girl. I did have some strenuous pregnancies. So I did have elective surgery to have my tubes tied after my second child, just because I want to be around for a really long time to be their mom. But I did make it through that journey, and that's what prompted me to go to school to become what I am and to get the education to back my personal experience, to be able to help other women through what I've been through and help them have a better quality of life. You can find me on Facebook at Sacred Transformation Wellness. I am on Instagram and TikTok, both as Dr. Liv, BCNWP, all smashed together, one word. I do also have a secondary website from oliviahairston.com called Sacred Transformation Apothecary, where you can find all of my handmade products as well as other self-care items like sage, Palo Santo, blessing kits, anything you could think of, tinctures, salves, balms, hair care, body care. It's all there. And I'll make it in my little Appalachian abode here in West Virginia. That's my favorite part of what I do. In addition to helping other women become strong and understand their power and how beautiful and unique that they are. So being a mom is a very important piece to what I do. But I love helping other women, specifically lactating moms. That's one of my favorite specialties, but helping women become mothers who have struggled for a really long time to not be able to do that on their own. So I love to give back. I love to help people. And that's my story. So thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. And as you guys have already noticed, amazing women as guests tonight. And thank you guys so much again for being here. I can't believe we've gone this long, but you all have given so much cool information and shared so many heartfelt stories. And I appreciate you all opening up to me and our viewers. And I hope to maybe have you on again sometime. So anyway, thank you guys. I'm going to let you go because we've been on this for 3 hours. Wow. Thank you guys so much. Love y'all. And we will do this again, something similar, maybe a different subject. Anywho, thank you again. You all have a great night. Much love.
Bye.